What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Watch and Cut channel where the fun never ends. I got kind of a cool knife that came on the table today. This knife actually doesn't even belong to me. This is one of my actually one of my co-workers' knives. I work in the car dealership realm, and one of my, actually my shop foreman gave me this knife and said, "Hey, could you sharpen it for me?" The thing is, it was covered with rust and all kinds of stuff, so I cleaned all the rust off. I put some fits to basically make it shine a little bit. That always works really well. And
you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing. You get me?
and then I noticed that, it's like super off-centered, and it's a really kind of a cool knife. So this is the KERSHAW CHUBBY.
It calls me, and no one knows how far it goes.
Yeah, you got the name right, Chubby. It's hilarious because it does feel like a chubby little knife in your hand. It's super comfortable, actually. So you have this kind of plastic injected molded type handle with a stainless steel liner lock on the inside. Makes good lockup, nice and safe, good knife overall. This is probably a pretty old school knife. I don't exactly know what year. I'd be guessing like, I don't know, 2016, 2015, like that era, but I'm not sure. I don't specialize in Kershaw's, but I really do like the old school ones. They had so much character, as in this knife is no exception. As a matter of fact, this was a perfect opportunity to kind of show off and showcase what like old school Kershaw knives were like, and the way I describe them is just flat out personality.
You got a joint? No, not on me, man. It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
So funny name, the Chubby. This came out in all kinds of different variations and colors. It came exactly the same way in reverse. It came with like some sort of black with red stripe type handle, and it came in, I think, like a Chinese produced version. Now, as you can see, this is the Japan produced version, which is indicated right here. So they are very different in quality from the Chinese cheaper production one to this old school Japanese one. As a matter of fact, a lot of old school Kershaw knives used to be made in Japan. So I thought this was super cool. These are the type of knives you'll find like on the Snap-on truck. When mechanics buy tools, they're usually making payments on those things because they're constantly upgrading their box and getting new tools. And then you see a whole row of knives or other trinkets, torches, and you'll find like something like this on those trucks. So anyways, that is the Kershaw Chubby. So what I thought, I'd just do a little video kind of showing this thing off while I take it apart and try to clean it out a little bit, see if I can get it to center. All my friend really wanted me to do was just sharpen it. It had literally no edge on it, but now it's actually really nice. I put a nice little bevel. This knife I kind of did by hand, I didn't use any like fixed angle sharpeners. It had chips all over it, so I had to remove a little bit of material, but I didn't really want to destroy the factory bevel, although this thing seemed like it had been kind of resharpened a few times by someone else. So I just kind of worked with what I had, and it actually came out pretty darn sharp. Yeah, it's actually a cutting tool now, so pretty cool. Let's see if we can fix this thing. We're going to start off by taking the pivot down. This one's already kind of hand tight, so I'm just going to take this out. Alright, so to get this part of the pivot out, I'm just going to push it through. It's kind of a rudimentary method to do it, but it works. This is going to be, I'm sure, all kinds of gunk that comes out. This one's really cool, this kit. It's magnetic. Then you got a little spinning bearing up here, so you can put a little light pressure, just kind of break it down. So they do free spin a little bit, but if you keep going, eventually you'll kind of break through and you can just take them apart without doing both sides. Very good. And when I do this, I try to keep the screws in the same orientation. They go right back in the same spot if possible. Those bronze washers aren't very bronze anymore either. No lubricant. Take the stop pin out. Alright, let's take the clip off. Reason why I'm taking the clip off is because I want to take the liner off. Such a cool pocket clip. Alright. Alright. Pretty nasty. So we're gonna go ahead and say that's the top of this blade, and this one's gonna be on the bottom. That'll make it easy to remember, hopefully. So here's what we got now. It's a lot better. I pretty much took all that stuff off. It's all pretty much surface discoloration at this point, and a little bit of wear from the bearing area. So it's nice and smooth. I used some fits just to remove all the tarnish off of it. I didn't really want to use any sandpaper or anything. I didn't think that was necessary because this is actually really good steel. This knife's probably over 10 years old. And just with a little bit of, you know, a little bit of polish, you know, comes right off and comes out really nicely. So that piece is good to go. Next, I'm gonna have to clean this up and get rid of that grime, and we'll do that. So here's actually how I'm gonna clean this plastic, because honestly, like, this stuff gets a little bit dried up over the years. So I'm going to use a little bit of mineral oil, actually, just to take this stuff off. I kind of figured I was going to show you guys just a little bit of how I do this. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying do it my way. But if you ever wondered on a way to do it and you like the results you see, I'll kind of try to give you guys my rationale behind what I do. And if you guys want to correct me in there, please, by all means. I love learning new stuff. But for you guys that are just figuring it out on your own out there based on experience, yeah, this is kind of like how I do it and why. I like mineral oil because it's not like smelly, it's non-toxic. So if you're gonna like use your knife for food, that's a perfect oil to like lubricate your blade and prevent it from rusting. You may have to apply it a little more often than some of those chemical ones, but it's not abrasive at all. It's clean. It's good to go. So I like using that stuff. It'll be clean and a nice functioning knife when he gets it back. And it'll cut stuff again. All right. That looks better. I like that. Very cool. Very important when you clean these things that you're going to want to lubricate this little detent ball right here. That makes the whole thing operate a lot smoother. And yeah, let's do this. All right, I think actually we're going to start with putting the pocket clip back on, because that's the order I did before and it seemed to work out quite well. Kind of tighten the whole thing back up into one piece here. These screws are real high quality too. Just testament to Japanese knife making. It's not, I think, unless you've been around a while, it's not as well known about Japanese. Everybody knows about katanas and everything else, but Japanese folding knife modern manufacturing is pretty darn cool. There's some famous cities for that, like you may have heard of Seki City, Japan. That's a good one. And there's other ones. So yeah, very cool stuff. All right, guys. So now we have two completely clean liners and everything kind of partially assembled here, ready to go back together. The blade I already kind of cleaned up with some polish and stuff, but what I'm going to do is the pivot area, which I haven't done yet. And then we're going to take care of, let's see what these grimy washers look like after I kind of clean them up a little bit. Alright, so we're looking pretty good with these washers. We're going to go ahead and lubricate them a little bit and get them back installed into the knife. Alright. So I could use knife pivot oil and all that stuff, but I got the mineral oil right now. It's good stuff. It's good to go. It lubricates, it cleans, it does all of that. And then some. Alright, so that's going to be that side. Do the same thing here. And we're going to put that guy on there. We're going to loosen these guys up, so we have some play with the liners, and then it's going to go right in. And there we go. Fits right in. That's so cool. Alright, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is start with the pivot. Just to kind of hold it together, but loosely. So actually, it's starting to feel pretty good. Ooh, it didn't do that before. Look at that. How's the centering? It's still off. It's a little better. I actually like how one pivot is captured into another. That's pretty cool. Let's put some red Loctite on it, because I have a feeling this is a knife that's going to lose centering very easily. And just to get it to that fine balance, which I think I got, where it's smooth, you can kind of almost drop it shut and it's centered. Look at that. It's better. All right, guys, the chubby is complete. So I could have gone through a Dremel and probably removed a lot of scratches out of the blade and such. But in all honesty, I was just trying to make this a functional tool for him. It was covered in grease. It was completely corroded and really nasty, completely off-centered. And now it is super smooth. It actually, this thing drops shut pretty much. It's really like frictionless. It's a really nice design. So opens and closes really nicely. Very comfortable little chubby knife. Yeah, I really like this thing. And I just gotta say, I love how they did the pocket clip. This is a tip down carry, as you can see, but I don't know. I don't know if I feel like that's a bad thing. So pretty cool knife. I really appreciate my coworker for lending this to me, for me to fix it up for him and everything, so I can kind of check out this cool little old school Kershaw Chubby. I really like this thing, actually. It's kind of neat. And we did manage to get this baby centered pretty good anyways. And I just love the action on this thing. Yeah, so there it is, the Kershaw Chubby, and hopefully you guys saw a few little tips and trips on how to clean up and, do up your knives. Anyways, this is Alex from the Watch and Cut channel, out for the evening.